Hi, Stuart Bull here. We're going to be doing 50 rock licks today. It'll possibly be a lot more than that. I'll basically pack in as much as I can in the time allowed. The only reason we're calling it 50 rock licks is because you've got to call it something, and the sales and marketing people need a name. You can't just call it, let's pack in as many licks as we can in 2 hours, or by lunchtime, or by 6 o'clock. So any of you who bought any of my DVDs before, you know I'll give you as much as I can in the time allowed, and I'll try and give you a nice broad spectrum of stuff that you can work into your playing, from easy to hopefully, you know, sort of mid stuff up to the difficult stuff. So anyway, it's all going to be there for you. Enjoy, work on the stuff, use it with the metronome, practice lots, and don't forget, you don't get the meaning of life out of any DVD, but if you can pick a few bits out and work it into your playing, then it's been worthwhile. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, here we go with lick number 1. Now, this is a lick that I use all the time. It's quite a simple arpeggio lick. I'll play it and then I'll explain. Okay, what's happening here is I'm pulling off from the 12 high E. Then you notice on this 10B and 9B, I'm basically playing the 10B, down to the 9B, then back to the 10B, and then I'm doing an upstroke on that 9 high E. Now I want you to pay attention to the way the pick works when it comes on up. So when you come back to that high E string, that's got to be an upstroke. So the only real thing to pay attention on this lick is that when you play it, you do a down, which is a pull-off, and then you do another down. And then after that point, it's all alternate. What tends to happen is when people do this, they go down and then sometimes up, and then they change it around. In normal terms, if you play a pull-off, what will happen is it will be a downstroke, and then it'll be followed by another downstroke because there's a gap in the mechanic, as it were. So it's down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, I'm going to show you what you can do with this lick, and then I'm going to show you a few variations of it. Now, basically, you're outlining an A major arpeggio here. You probably noticed that as a D shape that would be normally played down here. But it's that, for those of you who know the cage system, basically it's that A chord there. Now, it's got an A flat in it, which would be known as the major 7th, but because it's going by so quickly, it doesn't really matter. So you don't have to be playing an A major 7 chord for this lick to work. If you're playing any kind of regular A chord, whether it be a Johnny Be Good or whatever, you can use this arpeggio over it, and this A flat will work fine. So basically, I don't want to go on too much about it, but just to give you an idea of where you can use it, if you had a typical sort of Johnny Be Good type chord progression, 4 bars up to D, up to the E, back to the A, and you could use this just made a slight edit to the end of that lick to make it fit into that pattern, and you will find that when you adapt this lick to different things that you'll have to make little slight adjustments in order to make it fit the timing. And what I'm doing is I just put that little lick in at the end, little 4-note lick, which is a pull off from 12 to 9, and then a downstroke on that 10B, and then an upstroke on that 9 high E. Just one more time with the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's a great picking exercise as well, and because you've got that little pull off at the start, it's like running for a bit, taking a slight rest and then running. But what I want to do is I want to show you some variations on this lick as well, because there's a lot you can do with it. First of all, I want to cover the minor version. So obviously this is the major version right here. Now if we just drop this first finger down to the 8th fret on the high E string, exactly the same lick. The only difference is that the pivot point is the 8 on the high E string, and then we have 10 to 8 on the B string, okay? So we're going from major to minor. Major, minor, major, minor. Okay, also you can take this lick off over 3 octaves, and this I got this idea from the great guitar player called Michelangelo Batio. What he does is he gets this shape and then takes it down an octave, then down an octave. Okay? And basically what he's doing here is he's just going, so instead of going back up as we did before, he goes 12 to 9 and then goes 10, if you notice that, 10, 9, 10, 9, comes down, does exactly the same thing in the next octave, which will be 9 to 6 on the G. Then moves down to the next octave, which will be 7 and 4 on the A, and then you'll have 5 and 4 on the low E. Now, just watch this one slight difference that gives you the ability to come up again on the lick, and what that does is you go, and instead of going back down to that 4, you come up and play that 4 on the A strings. So in other words, it's exactly like it was when we first learnt the lick, okay? So if I just do it really, really slowly, and then you'll see how I come up. Down, down, up, okay? And then after we've played this 4, we do another pull-off from 7 to 4. And then we come up and play this 7 to 6 on the D string. And it's just in reverse. Okay? And after we've played that pull-off from 9 to 6, we play from 10 to 9. Okay, so I'm going to do it really slowly, going down and up, and then you'll see for yourself. Okay, so and if you get a metronome, and you can work on that. Okay, another variation on this lick that I'd like to show you, and this is a little bit of sort of a Zakk Wylde type influence, and this is a great way of playing, you know, in the regular pentatonic position, but also being able to work your way out of the box as well. So we're gonna use exactly the same technique, but instead of doing it in an arpeggio, we're just going to do it on the top part of the pentatonic, which is going to be 8 to 5 on the high E, and then 8 to 5 on the B string. Okay, and it's going to sound like this. Now that's a good lick within itself. You can start off a run like that. And you can basically, all I did there was took the same thing and went 7, 5 on the G string, and then played 7 and 5 on the D string. And then you get the same effect. Now, what I want to show you with this run, if you know your pentatonic positions fairly well, this is going to be easier for you than someone who doesn't, but I'll go through them quickly for you. The first one is going to be 8-5, 8-5 on the high E and B strings, then it's going to be 10-8, 10-8 on the B and E strings again, that will be position 2. Then when we move to position 3, it's 12-10, 13-10 on the B, so 10 12, 10 on the high E, 13 to 10 on the B string. Then we go 15 to 12 on the high E string, and then we play 15 to 13 on the B string. And then we go 17 to 15 on the high E string and the same on the B string. And then we come back to the octave of what we were playing before, which is 20 to 17 on the high E and B. So if I just go through the whole thing slowly, you'll see what's happening here. You might notice that the only time I changed my fingering was when I got to position 3, and instead of doing that, which to be honest I could have done, and probably is a more correct way of doing it. Normally when you're fingering things in guitar, if you can keep, especially run things, if you can keep them all the same, it does help, but for some reason I just always use my first and second. It seems to be more comfortable for me. Okay, so you've got all the positions now. I'll do it one more time at a medium tempo and then I'll speed it up. Now I'm basically doing 4 per pattern, okay? This is a triplet lick. So it's okay, so I'm doing it like that. 6 notes in the lick and I'm doing it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then moving up, but it really doesn't matter. It's random, these type of licks. You can do it once. You can do it as many times as you want. So I'll just do it once fast and then we'll move on. Okay, just continuing on for this concept, the lick that we were doing just now. I just want to show you basically a legato version of that, which doesn't involve picking. So it's actually really good for your left hand, this as well as an exercise, as well as a lick within itself. So basically what we do is we pick the first pulling off from 12 to 9, and then we slam the first and second fingers of our left hand onto the remaining notes. Now, if you can see my right hand here in the little capture, you'll notice that hopefully you'll notice it's dampening these bottom strings as I do this. And then basically what happens is I'm only picking the first note just to start the lick off. And that gives it a nice smoother sound if you're looking for that. And also, depending on where you're picking it can be slightly easier to play. So that's a good one there. And also what you can do, if you want to, you can put your right hand up on the guitar here like this. And then just use that as a lick within itself. Okie dokie. I want to show you a little tapping version that you can do with this as well. It's similar to what we just did, but instead of firing off with a pull-off, what we do is we take the second finger of our right hand, as I mentioned before. Sean Baxter showed me how to do this, and I've been doing it ever since. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 17... like that. I'm going to pull off from 17 high E to 12 high E to 9 high E. And then I'm going to slam the second finger of my left hand onto that 10B. Then 9 on the G. Then back to the 10. And then that 9 high E. We get like a semi-quaver lick. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and basically you can follow any chord you want, that go down to G. Which is basically a tone down. And obviously with the minor one you can do the same thing. And that's a tapping version of it right there. Okay, I'm going to show you a more advanced way of using this lick now. This is quite difficult and does require a fair bit of practice, but I'm going to use a C major arpeggio, same shape, this one, but I'm going to start down here on the 7th fret low E string. Now this requires quite a bit of left hand strength, and some people call it left hand tapping, but basically you're just not picking. But what we're doing is this. And that is 7 to 8 on the low E string, then 7 to 10 on the A string. And then what we do is with the second finger of our right hand, or the first finger depending on how you tap, we slam onto this 14. So it's basically like the lick we just played, but kind of in reverse. Now, where this starts to get interesting is when we slam this finger onto the 14th fret on the A string, okay, we then move our left hand up to the next position. So it's going to be like this. So what we're doing now is we're playing 9 to 10 on the D string, and then slamming from 9 to 12 on the G. And then we're tapping on that 16th fret G string. Okay, so just recapping on the first two. So it's fairly random. You can play each section as much as you want before you move. Played each one 4 times there, and then finally we move up to this top arpeggio, which is 12 on the B, 13 on the B, up to 15. It's just a repeat of what we've just done, but up an octave. And just tapping up on that 19th fret on the high E string there. So it's a C major 7 arpeggio. So and then by randomly selecting the amount of times we're going to play each one, we can make a nice sort of long lick. So if we go, and all I did there was go, just tap and pull off to that 12, and then back from that 15. So once again. Now when we go down, we do the same as we did before. When we learnt the lick very first time down, but instead of picking, we tap. So we go, slide down, next one, next one, and then come back up again. Now just another little variation we can do on this is when we're doing this pull-off. I'm just doing that little tapping lick there, which is playing 14, pulling off to 10 on the A, pulling off to 7 on the A, then up to 15. So we get. And you can slide. There's all sorts of little variations that you can do. You can just invent your own. All I did there was tap, slide up, back down, pull off. Move. Move. And you can basically just go nuts with that.